Hello there, welcome back to the channel, and yet another surprising government announcement. We've got more U-turns than cul-de-sacs, it would seem. So if you guys don't know the gist of things, of what's happened, basically, our beloved leader, Keir Starmer, has basically backtracked yet again. Backtracked and been forced, some would say, into a corner. And this corner is basically the announcement today of the U-turn on the winter fuel allowance. So we all remember this, don't we? It caused quite a bit of stir, a bit of commotion, shall we say. Pensioners were outraged, and rightly so. There was those that were in agreement with Keir Starmer and those that were disagreeing with Keir Starmer. Whichever side of the argument that you're on, really. I don't think it's really good to condone pensioners freezing in their own homes at winter, do you? Is that the normal thing we do in Britain now? I don't know. Anyway, so in today's PMQs, and to be honest with you, it's been the first time I've watched it in a very long time, he was basically forced into backtracking. We knew this was coming in some respect. There's been a lot of hearsay in the grapevine about, benefit cuts being changed, tweaked and amended. But the first thing he went in for was the pension, obviously pension credit cuts and so on, blah, 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 to save money. Now, just being, the thought process behind this, really, has he been forced into this, as some would say? Or is it because this man knows that potentially his reign is almost over? Some would say his reign of terror. I mean, if you look at the polls recently, Labour have took a nosedive, and rightly so. I mean, we all said they can't be any worse than the Tories, right? Well, turns out we were wrong. They could be a lot worse than the Tories. They're both the same, basically. The same peas of the same pod, as people would often tell me. So, what does this mean? So basically, he hasn't actually said when it would go ahead yet. He's basically confirmed that there is a U-turn, but they'll never admit there's a U-turn. The terminology that they used was something along the lines of we will pay what we can pay, but if we can't afford it, we can't afford it, we'll say we can't afford it. And it's like, well, clearly you can afford it. How about tax those millionaires? I better still tax those billionaires that's in the UK we have so many of. That slightest little tax increase will go a long, long way. But yeah, he's not confirmed basically when it's going to go ahead. He just said that it will go ahead. So my question is now to everybody here: if this is the situation in terms of the winter fuel cut allowance reversal, shall we say, what does this mean for those on benefits? Does this potentially mean that there is going to be a U-turn on that? Because let's be completely honest, I think there will be, or some slight tweak or amendments. I'm a very optimistic person, but I'm also very, very direct and very upfront with things, and not everyone likes that, and that's fine. But I do think that potentially with this cock-up, which it is a cock-up, let's be honest, he's now going to have to change his role and change his tune. So, will we see after June more potential changes to the benefits and the welfare bill? Will there be tweaks? Will there be amendments? Will there be add-ons and removals? There's so much in there. And I apologise if the camera's going a bit dark. I'm walking, as you can tell. So let's see what will happen. But has this come as a surprise? Absolutely not. Let's be truthful. We expected it. Like I've said, this government's done more U-turns than you can get in a cul-de-sac, and I stand by that. I'd like, as always, your thoughts and comments down below. It's a nice short video, straightforward, sweet and simple. Thank you for liking, subscribing and watching, and supporting the channel as you have done over the past so many months or years. If you're still here, consider liking, supporting, subscribing. It's free. If you want to donate to the channel, dollar symbol down below. Follow the Ko-fi page or the PayPal link in the description and down below as well. On that bombshell, I'm going to go and read more exciting news. Take it easy, folks. Have a great week ahead. See you soon. Bye-bye. It's actually not the end of the video. I've just did a video and, you know, anyway, I said it was ending and stuff and so on and so forth, but my brain then thought, there's more to talk about. There's always more to talk about. So we've seen, like I've said, with this whole massive U-turn, and it is a massive U-turn. In U-turn terminology, it's as big as the Titanic, and that took a while to turn, let's be honest, before its inevitable demise, shall we say. It's a huge U-turn, and an embarrassment for the government, as per usual, you know. Nothing to be not expected, really, is it? But what does this mean, like I said, for future people with the benefit welfare cuts and so forth and so forth? Now, as we very well know, there are more and more Labour MPs, day by day, kicking up a stump, actually fuming and angry about the benefit cuts. One of those we've spoken to. Now, you may remember a while back now that I've spoken to Labour MP Melanie On. She's the MP for Grimsby and Cleethorpes constituency up in North East Lincolnshire. Now, I've spoken to her several times and she's normally been pretty decent, and obviously the very first email that I ever received from her basically turned around and said, I support these benefit cuts. I think they need to go ahead. We need to be truthful. We've got to save money, pull our belts, scrimp and scrape and blah 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 blah. Melanie's now changed their tune. Just recently, in a local press of the area, she turned around and said that she does not support the benefit cuts. She didn't specify whether she'd be abstaining or voting no, though, in June, which, I'll be honest, I think she'll just abstain, which is what most of them do. They haven't got a backbone in them, usually, to put no on that ballot paper. So, yeah, it's a career choice from Labour candidates and MPs, as per usual. But, of course, it's opening up the world to reform, you know. Now, you can't talk about Reform UK, it seems, in this country, or anything to do with that matter, without being deemed as racist or far right and a thug. You know, I've been there many, many times, and to be honest with you, if I had £1 for every time someone called me a racist or a thug, I won't need to do YouTube, put it that way. But, you know, we diverge and we digress and we move on. We ignore those people because they don't control our lives, and that's what's important to note. So, this is now officially the end of the video. I do apologise. Like I said, I'd love your comments and thoughts and feedback, as per usual, down below. You know, we'll see how this goes, but yeah, it's a doozy for Labour, guys. It's a massive U-turn, one that I expected, and one that I think I did forecast before slightly changing my mind a little bit, you know. So anyway, I'm off. I'm hungry. It's tea time. See you soon. Bye bye for now.